Alright guys, so a new episode of 7th Prince anime is here again, but last time, we saw that after obtaining the divine magic, Lloyd had wanted to test it out. Since it's divine magic, it works like poison on undead and demons. So Lloyd decided to go on a ghoul hunt, for which he invited Sylpha and she immediately got ready. On their way, they ran into Escher and she told them that ghoul attacks have grown rapidly in the city, and the adventurer deployed to investigate their nest had disappeared too. But that adventurer turned out to be Tao and she was just lost in the underground sewers. Well anyways, since it's ghoul hunting, Tao spiced things up by putting a date with Lloyd on the line, so Sylpha, Tao, and Ren, the three of them, were competing with fire to land on this prize. But in the last moment a weird ghoul shook the three of them hard, and at the same time, something unforeseen was cooking up in the church. So now, that new ghoul just moved a single hand and managed to rough up the three ladies. There, Ren saw a string to her knee, and Tao tried to attack and suddenly fell down, so Sylpha had to step in because she also felt her limbs getting weird. The ghoul tried to get Lloyd the same way too, but he's way out of its league. He caught that string which was actually looking like a spinal cord, and Ren also got sure it's a neuron blighted. Once Jade told everyone how a blighted in a small province could create infinite strands of spinal threads with mana. It could control anyone's body with it, and more so, it has an auto-evasion system because of those mana signatures. That made him a perfect weapon in a civil war, but sadly, he couldn't control his powers, and even after an arrow pierced his heart, its automatic evasion continued to kill people. At that time, they blew apart a cliff to throw him into the sea. And now someone brought it back. Then with a little bit of concentration, the girls saw those strings. Lloyd is now clearly excited, and the girls tried to pick a fight again. But the number of threads it created were just impossible to evade. But away from there, that pastor in the church had attacked Father, and his demon friend wanted to take control over Escher's body, but Babylon showed up at the perfect time to save her life, so that pastor also changed into something else entirely. Then back in the main fight, the girls did take a heavy hit, but that wasn't enough to bring them down. In fact, they are even more fired up to beat this school. They got past those threads this time, yet it was able to block them all. There. Sylpha's attack kept it busy, and thanks to that, Rem was able to use her poison on it. It was a neurotoxin, perfect to mess with the nerve system to paralyze it. That gave them the perfect chance to turn things around, so the ghoul started making his threads razor sharp now, and instead of dodging, Tao skillfully wrapped it around her gauntlets to throw him at Sylpha. As she was ready to butcher up that rotten flesh, it looked like they finally managed to beat it, but sadly, they didn't. His auto-reflex must have kicked in again. But considering the wiggly sword Sylpha was using, Sylpha did great. Besides, she noticed that this blighted was able to control its power completely, so they can't let it escape. The ghoul thought he could escape because his master's plan takes priority, so he will get another chance to kill the ladies, but a sudden explosive broke its leg apart. And Shiro told others that Lloyd went out to take a dump, but the little magic maniac was here to satisfy his hunger of knowledge. This ghoul was beaten to death by bullies, and his soul wanted to take revenge. But his soul was weak, so he couldn't possess a strong man because of it. That's when his master showed him a blighted dead body that he had pieced together, and he was able to take control of this body quite easily, but his master didn't ask anything in return, so he went out to kill those people who drove him to death. But after that, he didn't have any plan, so he returned back, and upon his return his master welcomed him warmly. Those words meant the world when he heard that, so he was ready to do anything for his master. Even though he realized just how monstrous Lloyd is, the thought of him becoming a threat to his master drove him to fight. That takes courage actually. And he really got past those goddess figures to reach out to Lloyd, but the kid has cheat codes activated, so nothing can faze him. And Buddy saw his life flashing out soon, thinking it's his last moment, but Lloyd never thought of killing him. Actually, he wants to get him on his side, but the ghoul can speak, which delivered an even bigger shock. So Grimm thought this one might be a wraith living in this body, and Lloyd got even more interested and asked him to join his side. Those words weren't fake. So the ghoul wonders if those tears were his, or if they belonged to the Civil War, because there was none who had ever asked Civil War to be by their side and touched him with warmth. But that snake had made him swallow a spell called Luma Maxima that can destroy him, and it broke in that moment, injuring Grimm with that divine light. That pastor noticed it and stopped his attacks. Lloyd was ticked, but he knew Grimm won't die. Jiriel noticed it was a Luma Maxima spell, but very few know this divine magic. In its final words, the ghoul was still worried about his master. But that heartless guy never felt a moment of remorse or regret. But since he was stopped, Babylon told Escher to take father and run. He knew he can't beat this guy, but he wants to stop him until Escher gets away, at least so he could run away too. There, the pastor woke up and saw the lady is gone. So he started his havoc. Lloyd had asked Babylon to stay behind because he noticed something was off about this pastor, but more so, he knew Babylon felt this way before him. Babylon had lived his life in danger, so he knows how to identify threats much more sharply. That's why he trusted Babylon's instincts and left him here. That trust was driving Babylon without fear against such a terrific foe. But that pastor is just weirdly odd. He could see every movement of Babylon, yet he was playing with him, and Babylon thought he's a demon-looking guy. So yeah, divine magic will definitely work on him, but even after giving it all, nothing happened. In fact, it left him so wide open that the pastor easily killed Babylon. So now we'll have to see what Lloyd will do once he learns about his death. And right there our Season 2 Episode 4 ends, so stay tuned, watch another one as well, and for that, subscribe the channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon or you'll miss the latest updates. Till next time guys, take care.